And from the left, like the
Harika gar, we can't hear anything.
Streaming through that. Okay. Can you hook up this headphone set to that Bluetooth? Mic है? Mic क्या USB mic है? नहीं USB Bluetooth कहीं ना कहीं किसी और का माइक ऑन है इसको म्यूट कर दें No. Somebody else got Am I audible? Hello. Where is this fellow connected to? This guy is always has to go up.
an image of it in my mind. And language of the brain is images, symbols. So why I am saying that, when we talk about the class, when we get into the class, I am going to use the word, what is your experience? What do you recall from childhood? If you
just the experience, or do you replay the entire episode? You will replay the entire episode. But what was the symbol? Just from this, whatever you had registered is just experience. How do you recall the entire episode? That is the characteristic. And this characteristic explodes to give you all the 12%. Now, how do you get to that's the look at the fun of it. How, if we are really visual being, look at this one. What did I observe? I observed a session on cinematography where they said that if two frames are not 30 degrees apart, the brain does not recognize that as two frames. It is the same frame. Oh, very good. So brain means, how do I get 12 views? That becomes the natural question. In my career, I have retired from a very senior position and I was a senior president. That profile helps me create a different approach, a holistic approach. Because when I say my customer has to be satisfied, I need a 360-degree perspective of what he can understand. Taking the complete perspective became very important. So, if I have to satisfy a customer, that desire took me through what do I deliver, when do I deliver, and so on. That led me to the 5 W's and 1 H of management. Why, what, where, when, who. Plus, linking all these 5 together is how. Right? So each one I take 2 elements. I don't use it. How. The job of connecting the dots is how. When I am doing the connection, I get 2 more questions. I needed 12 views. Answer to each of the views. Answer to each of the views gives me 12 distinct views. Of course, now do the actual how. Connect all these. I've got my 360-degree perspective. That is one image in my mind. So, a brief introduction into what we are going to talk about is a integration of 9 books applied to 2 concepts. One is meditation, the other one is disease. Are you with it? Yes. Are we live also?
Okay.
Yes. No. People are able to hear me because this starts the story. Zoom, you are able to do this. And team? Yes. Very good. You're looking. No. I need to look careful.
No, sir, you're looking at them.
Okay. Then that has a problem. Okay. So let's come back. What are the books? Concepts from Chandra, becoming supernatural. You are the president. Thinking and destiny. Some of the chapters.
Super.
Robert Squad. Your soul plant. Your soul ship. There is a little bit of Dr. Henry Wright in terms of spiritual roots of the business. Most of the concepts are spiritual subjects. The role of education, our Anatan, how simple Patriji has made it for the benefit of. And then there is the theory to it. We say that we sit in a posture, we do all that. But how do you convert that to applied meditation for health? This is going to be the overall. And a little bit of experiment also has got. The 7 bodies of a human being, the 7 principles, concepts from that. These build up with 360 degrees of the concept. And when I said Henry Wright, the spiritual way, he has beautifully characterized that all diseases are, at least the suggestion of it, where 80% of them can be cured without medication, comes from our process. How meditation happens to be a tool for overcoming. Clear? Any questions in this? Anything you want me to add to? As an example, we will try to do the question answer and then this is how everything is going to be.
You want me to show soon? Am I audible? No, that's because local. What about the remotes? Are you okay? Are you getting it? Is this mic not helping? This mic is not helping.
Yeah. I'm checking it.
Do you want me to put on my headphones?
Better now. I can disconnect that one also.
No, this is already disconnected. I need to switch it on in case you need.
Yeah, connected this.
I think it's fine now. See, they're saying better.
This is taking it up.
No, I unmuted this line.
That is the mic,
Yeah,
right?
this line.
The speaker is muted. That's okay.
Right.
Okay.
Okay, continue. Then let's see. If any complaint, then we'll switch it off.
So where was I? We are going. Rajesh, okay. I need someone to operate, share the content, and there are some pictures. Only Rajesh, no, I've already told him I want those pictures.
Okay, I got it.
Can you share the Mind Manager file?
Where is it?
Come down. No. Yeah, that M.
This one?
Yeah, that
This one?
one. Yeah. Okay. Below this, on the right hand side, on the slides, you move this. Move that. Move that also. That arrow. Arrow next to the tool symbol.
Behind the mold.
Wait.
No, here only.
The main.
That arrow. Yeah. Okay. Now move this fellow back. You will have arrows at the bottom. First arrow. That is no, the first one.
This one?
Yeah. Okay. So basically, let us start with understanding a process of how nature works. All of you make chapatis at home? And don't ask me what is the relation between a chapati and nature. We will derive. So let's take a chapati. How do you make? I will give you raw wheat. How will you convert that to a chapati? You have to grind first. Just write down grind. What next? Straight away? You have to put it through a sieve. Do you do that? Chani. Why?
You don't want those lumps of
So you want the denser material to be separated from the subtler material. Okay. And the subtler itself, if you take a different sieve, you will still get a subtler material. Right? So there is a degree of acceptance of the subtler material for it to be recognized. Okay. Let's go further. After filtering, do you throw away the denser material? You don't. So it has got its value. It has got its purpose in the process of making chapati. Correct? What next? You will add maybe salt to that powder before you pour water.
Not everyone.
If not salt, something else. Okay.
Maybe some oil.
That's also there. That's also there. So you are adding different from a chemical perspective or scientific perspective, you are adding chemicals. Okay. And then what is happening? You are mixing it. You are making a homogeneous mixture of it with the right kind of desired thickness. Correct? After that, what are you doing? After that, what are we doing? Pardon?
You have to knit it.
portions of it. And those portions you are shaping. If ladies do it, we get the shape. If men do it, you get the world map and so on. And then we can. So here everyone is able to hear me, right? Okay. So now what have you done? You have converted it to a flat shape. Then what? Okay. Okay. You are now going to give it additional energy in the form of heat to acquire a shape, acquire a presentability, and so on. So in effect, how does nature replicate the same process? Because I took up this as an example because we are used to it. We are able to what happens in nature. Can someone help and click the first Rajesh, आपके पास रखो. ये mouse connected है. अब और वहीं पे बैठो. वहीं पे बैठ जाओ. इसके ऊपर नहीं, वो कपड़े के ऊपर ले लीजिए, नहीं तो स्मूथ नहीं है तो प्रॉब्लम आएगा. First, yeah. Okay. This is picked up from Dr. Joe Dispenza's book. For our understanding, it is chapati, but for the science to replicate itself, when two atoms come together, what is it that is making it a molecule? Let's say sodium and chloride. Bonding, but what is the basis on which they are bonding? Energy, charge, electron. I use the word information contained in that gray color between the two, which
Sir, we lost the audio. We can't hear you.
said, the common thing across is energy, information, and so on, which is shown in the gray color everywhere. Okay. So now multiple cells is creating a tissue. Multiple tissues is creating an organ. Each organ having its own composition energy, its own pattern dictated by that gray color within, right? And that is then going to become an organ. When these organs come together, it becomes a system. What are those systems? Respiratory, digestive, circulatory, and so on. And a number of these systems, when combined together, becomes a human body. Right? Just like when we were preparing the chapati, human body is equal to the finished good, which is the chapati. Right? The process of transformation is by means of changing the energy composition of the raw material. What do you think is the raw material in this case? We will go below the atom. What is that? body, the desire body happens to be our astral body. Desire body is the astral body. What about the desire body? The influencer, the mind, right? The mind is the emotional body. The emotional body, which is the manomaya kosha, is then moving the intellect body, wisdom, information. Physical body to the spiritual. They basically, each of them is similar to the atmosphere around us. Atmosphere has got solid, it has got liquid bodies, it has got airy bodies, it has got radiant bodies, which is, in other words, fire or light, air, water, and earth crust particles. And this requires a pattern to form this physical entity. Now you understand why chapati and why this process? Both are equally important. Okay. Can we go to the picture which is to the right?
Just wake up when it's night time.
नहीं उधर नहीं मिल रहा है तो वहां लगा लीजिए ना, नीचे होगा वहां पे, हाँ उसके ऊपर दबा दीजिए. करेक्ट. नेक्स्ट वन. नहीं वो लेंस के ऊपर. So in effect, the body and the rocket are not two different things. The body and the rocket is built of a layered structure. And when we move away from this dimension or the physical earth, parts of our body also collapse. Okay? But what happens? When we are leaving the physical body, when it gets disintegrated, there are leftover emotions, there are leftover feelings, there are leftover thoughts, there are, if I compare from a spiritual perspective, all of us take birth on this earth for a specific purpose. When we have completed the purpose, fine, we have learned something, we have made some mistakes. All these remain in the environment as energy patterns. Why is this important? We will come to it. And layer after layer. First is the physical body vacates. Those feelings move on to the emotional body, the astral body. After a few hours, the astral body perishes. But the energies cannot be, energy can neither be created nor destroyed. Right? So it moves on, transferred to the emotional body, the manomaya kosha. After some time, the manomaya kosha also vacates. What happens to that energy? That goes to the causal body. In the causal body, they are getting segregated into completed tasks, completed energy, completed this projects or the sub-projects of life. That learning out of it becomes your wisdom. But then there are also mistakes, incompleted learning, right? So those become your karma. That is karma. Again, existing as patterns. When we take a next birth, these patterns become part of the new birth plan that you write for yourself. 50% of it happens to be something that you have to close. That means whatever thoughts, whatever patterns, whatever feelings you generated in one lifetime come back to creating the new pattern that have to be cleared. That is 50%, which is karmic, part of your destiny. The balance 50% is free will. Okay. Why is this understanding important? Jnanagni dagdha karmanam. What does that mean? Wisdom can help you eliminate some of these karmic influences. Right? Now, we have created all this. How does that karma, the patterns, etc., influence us? Let's go to the last picture. When you don't get X there, then it may be X, maybe here. Okay, that's good. Very good. Right? Now, whatever we showed that body structure, when a biologist or a spiritualist looks at us, this is what is visible to him. It is like you have taken let us say, 12 Mbps. I mean, what time do we use for photograph? The pixels. Huh? No. What is the name that we use? Camera, क्या बोलते हैं यार? Pixel. Megapixel. Right? So, if you take a photograph and keep on expanding it, does it get pixelated? Yeah. It breaks down. Right? That means as you expand, you become particles. And the same particles, when you make it dense, it becomes a picture. Correct? You have observed this? At least on the phone, you enlarge something, after some time it becomes dim. And then you again reduce the size, it comes, right? That is the impact of the material that surrounded and made up of. Okay. Now, they are creating a pattern. The pattern is the energy, the particles, etc., the way that is available around you. Here, two more new concepts are very essential. One is the action of woodpecker. The action of a woodpecker. What does the woodpecker do? This time we will hear from this side. Well, I got some urbans here, we'll get some this side. What does a woodpecker do? Peck the wood. Okay. How long does it keep pecking? Until it is able to break the resistance offered by the composition of the cells which make up the trunk of the tree. Is that a correct statement? Okay. That also is energy. But The repeated focus, it's like taking a bulletproof glass, firing the bullets consistently at the same spot. What is happening? You are going to shatter that glass initially, but later you are going to pierce through the glass. Okay? Replace. No, don't replace yet. We will take some more time. Now, is the process of the woodpecker, can I say it is rhythmic? Right? Maybe intensity is varying, but rhythm is continuing. Right? A little bit either faster or slower. Initially very fast, then it has made, initially very slow, then it has made a small dent, then it keeps repeating, increases space, makes it deeper, and goes further. And at that stage, it notices the collapse. Now it is going to widen it by moving its beak this way, that way, straight, diagonal, and all that. Okay. That is a natural process of rhythmic hammering. Are we all breathing? How many know what happens to the breath that goes in? I had given an example in the beginning. What happens to the breath? It goes in as 5 components the moment it is entering the body. Prana, life force. Apana, certain areas it has got the life force. Right? Life force is breaking down into 5 components. Vyayana is spreading throughout the body. But what about prana, apana, udana, and samana? For a moment, what is it that we are breathing in when we are taking a breath? Energy. So this prana, apana, udana, samana are the energy components. But what are they composed of? Look at the picture, you'll get an idea. Particles. What are those particles? There are only 4 particles and a pattern. Correct? So, fire, air, water, earth crust at different degrees and a pattern coming from your Akashic record. That is also sitting as particles. Right? That is also a pattern. That pattern is going in. And what is Mr. Upper compartment doing? Upper compartment, your brain. That's also, no, wait, chakra will come. That is far way off. But upper compartment, inside. Right? So it is thinking. It is generating thoughts. Thoughts in the form of chapati was not chapati here. No, what was it? Process, information and all as energy. Correct? Because unless you knew how much energy to give, it makes the difference between the chapati I saw in a movie, which the husband makes. The wife comes. She says, let me take this chapati. This is chapati you have made? Yeah, good, good. She throws it at her. She throws that chapati as though it were a discus. She throws it at a jar. This is a Telugu movie. People in Telugu will know Sitapati Santara. Right? So, this jar is cut into neat 2 pieces. But that's a chapati. Right? Because when husband and wife, they have a fight. Husband says, I will not go to work. Wife says, I will go to work. So he becomes a home husband. He is preparing chapati. All frustration, everything is poured into that chapati. Right? And I have done that. Right? So that chapati has become so strong that a jar made of clay is cut into 2 beautiful pieces, not to number of pieces, just 2 pieces. Right? The same thing can manufacture that also. Right? So basically, from the pattern, from the thought process, the combined image has created something that is neither edible, but it's a potential weapon. So the same thing can be extended to our real life also, depending upon the pungenticity of the thought, the composition of what gets created. Right? Now this breath, this fellow is going to all parts of the body. We have got 4 cavities, as I had mentioned, which is the cranial, the thorax, the abdomen, and the pelvic. Correct? All these organs of the body are distributed along these areas only. There are no organs in the feet. There may be nerves. Okay. And then you use the word chakras. Where are these chakras? Inside? No. Chakras are not physical. They are the energy body sitting in the astral body. Okay. Right? But how does the thought move? It starts as a thought in the highest plane, in the spiritual region. Then more and more thoughts from various people, various sources, they come together. That becomes an idea. As an idea, it is coming from the intellectual plane. Because wisdom, all that energy has come. That energy is then coming to the causal, verified against the patterns. Is the pattern the right one, etc. This is the natural process. And then you have got your wisdom, your free will, which is also influencing the pattern which is going to dictate the final outcome. Correct? That pattern, as particles that have gone in, have changed at the body level. They are riding the breath. They are riding the breath. Breath is flowing through all the parts of the body. In the process, at the astral layer, they are getting energized with the chakras. Chakras are vortexes which move in counterclockwise as well as clockwise direction. Clockwise is positive or negative?
Positive.
Okay. And counterclockwise, obviously negative. Chakras, they work on, as they work on the system particles, they are energy vortexes, right? They keep rotating. And the representation I want you to imagine is thought is in the front of the body. Chakra vortexes, the chakra forces, they start a little bit distant because the body itself is at a distance, right? The astral body. They start there, which is the layer, the second or third layer there. It is rotating. Thoughts is on the front side and feelings is on the back side. They are influencing the pattern in which this is getting created. And what is the function of each chakra? Each chakra has got associated organs in the body. Organs are again cells. We saw that in the diagram. Right? Organs is tissue. Tissue is cell. When you start breaking them down. So now what you are doing is, with this thought as pattern, cell's life is for how many days? 3 days. After that, they have to get replenished. Okay? The cell's memory is there. Cell's natural tendency to create something is there. And this, this new pattern, the particles are going and settling into creating new cells, right? With the environment, etc. the cell is getting formed. We saw how they get particles. They get influenced by the pattern, becomes molecule. That molecule is subjected to the environment and image the pattern that has created a chemical, and then it became a cell. That cell is being replaced. But with what? The material that is going in with the pattern that you are supplying it. Okay? That is forming the cell. After the cell, we know what is happening in the body. Okay? That thought pattern that you are creating could be in multiple forms of energies, as emotions and so on. Both emotions and commotions, because one adds fuel to the other. These then end up manifesting as an outcome. As it is progressing, these particles and the breath with the particles, when it goes to the anahata, there is one more component getting added. What is that? BLOOD. That is coming from this chakra, the blood. Blood is loaded with emotion again. That is also going to every part. Is it following a particular pattern?
Can I go to India?
Is it following a particular pattern? Now this pattern at a regular interval bring the woodpecker function getting replicated both by blood and your circulation. Getting further energized by each chakra which is managing the particles. You change the quality of the raw material, what happens to the outcome? You are going to impact the outcome also. Right? With all this theory, now let us go into what happens with each of these in real life within the body. So far, any questions?
Please ask
Yes,
if
sir.
I don't understand. Otherwise, it is difficult to connect to the next level.
No, they will be able to connect. I will ensure they will connect, otherwise they will not get up. Any questions here?
So there is a
Because this understanding is very important. So far, any questions? These are all the CKD. Now we are going to create the manufacturing product, which is our health or ill health or whatever it is. CKD, knockdown condition, yes sir.
When cells replaces,
Ah,
a new cell generate.
correct.
At that time, also information is transferring memory from old cell to new cell, correct?
Yes or no, depends upon the condition of the old cell. It might have completely perished. So there are so many conditions that we will let the doctor worry, but basically we need to understand the process. Because one bit of information is your faith. We will come to that. How it will help you heal also, we will come to that. Okay. But yes, the quality of the cell could be a resultant quality, or it can be completely a replaced quality. Okay. But any other questions? Process is clear. Yes, sir.
So if we are talking at the cell level, right? And the cell dies off. And it didn't get a good energy during the process. And the new cell is born. And the process and how
The raw material or the material at one point or the other has changed. That's what you are telling. Correct? What will be the outcome?
so if the change is in a
Quality of the
positive
outcome. Just focus on the quality.
side, if the change is on I had a bad thought 3 days. One day I had a good thought. Suppose.
Okay.
But there was a period of bad thoughts and a period of good thoughts, right? When this process is changing,
Very good. Very good.
what happens?
Let's go back to Mr. Woodpecker.
Yeah.
when it starts pecking, right? What is the quality of the wood?
Very hard.
Hard, strong. In energy terms, what does it mean?
Dense.
It is dense. It has the ability to withstand the peck. That is quality.
Right.
Okay. Now, as it is hammering, what is happening to the quality? But if I was replenishing the cells that were being damaged, what will happen to the woodpecker's beak? Poor fellow.
Yes,
It's a fight.
Right? It's a fight. That is your immunity. That is your body energy level. As your energy is equal to sigma individual cell energy. Right? So that is going back to the quality of the raw material only. And the raw material happens to be energy, the 5 elements, the pattern. One of the element of the pattern is also your faith. From a human being perspective, it's your belief system. It is your thought. It is your, I can do it. Here, how is not going to play a role because you are leaving that to Mother Universe. But do you trust or you don't trust? Right? So let's close this. Go to the next bottom arrow. Next, yeah, you'll have to close it probably. Let's see. Yeah, if you don't close it, this will still remain there. Top right. No. Ah, yes. You got it. You have to close that also. That you can close that. No. Ah, yeah, you should be able to close that. तो इधर नहीं है ना, पीछे जाओ, पीछे चले जाओ. Okay, अब वो इस नीचे वाला X मार दीजिए, लास्ट वाला. अब चलिए नेक्स्ट वाला. Now it is time to put all these fragmented 4 pictures into action. That is why I asked any questions in the previous 4 pictures. It is very important that you are very clear.
Basically, your thought flows with like your life force energy. And
Is superimposed. See, life force energy has got energy.
Right.
It has got the 4 elements that have gone with it. Where is the pattern coming from or the resultant pattern? It may have a little bit of a pattern within it, which is based on your KARMA. Okay.
The thought is superimposed with all newly created.
Yes. So that energy that is going to sit on this vehicle of wave is going to be dominated by your thought, which is a combination of your karmic pattern plus your thought pattern. Thought pattern, look at it this way. Ignorance versus wisdom. Ignorance is you don't know what it is. Wisdom is you know what it is. This is what is coming from the intellectual body. Intellectual body has got your core wisdom from many lives at one stage, plus what you have read and what you believe what you have read to be right or wrong. Clear? All?
So is that thought is like your free will? When we say karmic plus thought.
Free will is part of the vehicle that is you are going to use to write the thought pattern on. Karma is also, but then all these are in the energy form. Now what is happening is, let us say I am sitting in meditation. What is happening to the energy that is going to write the body? What have you done to the thoughts? How many thoughts do we get a day? 60 to 70,000. Transferred to every breath level. How many breaths do you take in a minute?
12 to 20 or whatever.
Right? 12 to 20 when you are worried. When you are in a meditative state, how many breaths? Why? When you are breathing in happens at, let's say, a count of 3 or 4. Breathe out happens at a count of 7, 6 or 7. That is per 10 seconds, one breath, because breath is both in and out put together. So in 60, how many?
6.
Hardly 6. When you are worried, what's your heartbeat? It goes to 90, 100 and so on. That means every beat has also got one corresponding breath. Correct? And that is Mr. Woodpecker ultimately for us. Let us not forget the woodpecker. Right? Our life is dependent on chapati. Our life is dependent on woodpecker action. Right? The raw material being Panchabhutas. Right? Now, let us go to the first circle. From the intellectual brain, we just said what we get. You get energy in the form of thought. This fellow is hidden. Yeah, right? From the heart, the same fellow which went in as energy, that became emotion. In between linking these two is one nice equation. Expectation is equal to, you can write down this equation. It's very interesting. It comes from a book titled Emotional Equations. A beautiful book. One should read it. I will give you the book also in the PDF form. Right? Those who are users of Android phone, welcome. Apple, no entry. I mean, why? Because the app I am talking of, which can enable you to read this comfortably on the phone, happens to be only available on Android. That is why welcome, not otherwise. And in spiritual terms, Apple is equal to do not believe in oneness. Android, interoperable with various devices, or believes in oneness. Right? That is the spiritual definition. Am I saying something wrong? So many people are laughing.
So you invested in Google.
No, I do not believe in share markets because I lost some money. Right. So, emotional equations, right? Disappointment is equal to, because this happens in our life every day, expectations minus reality. Right? Again, we need meditation to recognize reality. Right? Why meditation? Recognize reality. Tone down disappointments. Tone down. Why? Because they belong to 95% of the unwanted thoughts. Right? And we want to empower our what? The positive side of things, right? So, expectations is equal to, sorry, not expectations. Disappointment is equal to expectation minus reality. You are influencing your energy already. Let us bring in one more interesting equation, which is the other side. I am responsible types. For everything, good or bad, I am responsible, because whenever something goes wrong, I am blamed. It happens to us every day. We know who gets blamed and who blames. Don't laugh, then you are succumbing to my statement. You are subscribing to that. Right? So now what is happening? Here, regret. Poor fellow. This regret is equal to disappointment plus responsibility. It has come to responsibility. Who is responsible? You. Right? So, our life is in between these, which keeps influencing the patterns of the thoughts, the emotions, the corresponding behavior, responsibility, and ultimately the outcome. And all of them can potentially have a positive direction or a negative direction. Either way, they are going to cause an imbalance when the expectation is not within the realms of reality, stretchable. Project plan 20% overrun. Right? That's what we do. So this has a tremendous influence coming from our thought. 70,000 a day, which is equal to 1 per second, almost. Now, every thought needs energy. There is a consumption pattern. We have to keep our levels high. Again, the core reason why meditation happens to be a very important tool. Many people shy it away, thinking, I am running, I am jogging and all that. But ultimately, what is required is the Raja Yoga kind of energy. To gain energy, there you are spending energy. Here you are conserving energy. Right? So this is important. Let's go to the next picture. Oh, you are close, right? So let us understand where is that variation of this thought energy, this emotional energy, where is it going to act? It is going to act in all parts of the body because we are a combination of body, spirit, and mind. Okay? So beware, every single thought that you are generating is Mr. Woodpecker acting in one of the area, and that with Mr. Woodpecker has got an ability to puncture one. If he has punctured one, the others have automatically got punctured because they are interconnected. So let's go to the next picture.
So on this one, basically, if you have a positive thought, it gives a good vibration to your body.
Correct. But then where is 95% of your thought coming from? Yesterday's experience. Right? Yes.
I was trying to understand like how these are related to the good thought or bad thought.
See, you are an integrated body. But from the energy perspective, from the spiritual perspective, you are a combination of three entities, which happens to be these three. Depending upon the level of your consciousness, which one will dominate is going to be decided. This is the spiritual definition. Physical, these three are embodied into your four cranials, or with four cavities, which have got the distributed organs. Organs are again broken down. You come back to Panchabhutas. Right? We have already seen how prana results in this. When you are breathing in, you have got pancha pranas. Each of the prana is associated with one of the cavity in the body. Right? And when this breath is loaded with the image and passing through each chakra area, it is taking those particles and depositing there. He asked a question. What happens if I supply wrong raw material, quality? What will get replenished is already weakened. Plus, you need enough energy to handle the 60,000 thoughts, which I think it is 1 point some millivolt per thought. Right? So how much of energy we need? We can't put ourselves in the plug and then get that energy anyway. So it has to be only again through one source, that is meditation. With curbing the thought, changing your belief system, right? Changing your levels of wisdom so that the negative thoughts will not be there. When I increase my intellectual capability, I'm going to strengthen the positive side of things. Right? So all these are interrelated, And we can't say, ye iske karan hua hai. Right? So we can't discriminate, that is why. Because these again are the composition of those elements only. Right?
So that's what basically a positive thought will give a benefit to your body, give bliss or some happiness
Yes.
out of it, and the karma also part of
Very
the
good.
body.
If we recall what Patriji said, which has transcribed and come out as spiritual tablets, is what is your life equal to? Meditation, sajjana, or swadhyaya. Correct? That is at the energy and wisdom level. There is one more component he does speak about. You have got dharmas. You have got duties. Right? If you don't perform your duty also, if you don't perform your services also, if the positive thoughts are too many, you're again creating an imbalance. So, the right kind of service also is very important. Right? One is understanding the service, two, doing it at the right level at the right time. No point in the doctor coming after the patient is gone. Right? That system applies to our reality of life. Okay. And all these are very well captured in spiritual tablets. Whatever Patriji's wisdom, the tablets are also the research of Dr. GK and the concept coming from Patriji. They both are intertwined, just like the mind, body, and this. And in spiritual tablets, the same three are represented as energy, consciousness, and wisdom. We are again units of energy, consciousness, and wisdom. Okay. They are not two separate things, they are all together. Whatever wisdom you take, how can you apply it to this body? How will it get applied? Empathic concept. And that process is meditation. Right? I mean, any questions in why I am using these words? If anything is not clear, please ask me.
I have a very basic question, right?
Yes, sir.
Like, what do you define as mind here?
Your intellectual body, mind is not inside. You have got an intellectual body. You have got an emotional body. You have got the construct of the body that I spoke about. We are talking about Panchabhutas, right? In the Panchabhutas, intellectual body is your mind. Emotional body also is your mind. Okay. It's like our atmosphere that we are sitting in. Please, it consists of air, water, fire, and earth crust along with a pattern. Please discriminate them and show me. You can't. The same thing is in this. The mind is that part. See, generally, if you want to give me if you want me to give you a better example, I will quote thinking and destiny. What is thinking and destiny's definition of this human being? It is knower, thinker, doer. That is your soul. Our soul consists of three components in a perfectly balanced body. Knower, thinker, doer. Let me make it still simpler. Brahma, Vishnu, Maheshwar. Okay? Brahma, what is his characteristic? Creator. So what do you need for creation? You need knowledge. You need identity. Right? Now let us, so God, God also is generator, operator, and destroyer. Correct? Generator is the creator, which is Brahma. We have given him two characteristics, one active, one passive, knowledge and I-ness, or the identity. Now let's come to thinker. Thinker is Vishnu. Vishnu is the administrator. What do you require for administration? Sir?
Operation.
Operator. He is the operator. He is the administrator. I use the word administrator for a different reason. I'll come to that. Right? So, what are the two legs for an administrator's function or an operator's function? Management, वो ठीक है, वो अंग्रेजी हो गया. अभी spiritually बात करते हैं ना. So what is that? Now knowledge is somebody else's property. He is anyway loaning it to this fellow because they are all part of the same constituent. It's a perfectly balanced body. Okay, let me same meaning or nearby, but more effectual. I mean, justice and reason. Okay, so one is active, the other one is passive. Because justice, moral justice is different from spiritual justice. Reason is applicable only for all are meditators, only for moral. You're right. Is there a reason for spiritual this one? In real science, if we measure it, a near about meaning can be drawn. Is the science we are following Newtonian or quantum? What is the difference? Anything up to speed of light, Newtonian can answer. But anything beyond speed of light, only quantum can answer. Both are science. Right? If it is reason, if it is physical, there has to be a reason which is materialistic. For the materialistic, there can be a reason. For spirituality, there is only justice. That justice is identified by what we call righteousness. This is what Patriji's message has been. Lead a life righteous. Right? So now what we have defined, we have come up to the second part of this element. Right? Now you are left with one more, doer. Maheshwar. He is the destroyer. And he is the one who maintains the balance of the body in which Brahma, Vishnu, Maheshwar reside. So knower, thinker, doer have got a perfectly balanced body. And that body's balance is maintained by Mr. Doer is equal to your desire. And what is the other side of the coin? Desire, other side, feeling. Right? Desire is active. He is the fellow who drives feelings. In between these two, for this to become that and for that to become this, you have Mr. Narad, your astral body, which is your desire body. Driving that fellow is under the control of your intellectual body or your manomaya kosha. This manomaya kosha is driven by THOUGHT. Right? And our astral body is in between. He is Mr. Narad. He will take the thought, give it to the body, convert it to emotion, give it to the body. The body will feel. He will return it. He will simply transfer it back to the thought body. He is the dancer. He is making everyone dance. Desire. Right? So that is how the balance of this can be maintained. And what is consciousness? The degrees of consciousness can be measured by the balance achieved by balance achieved by desire and feeling. So if your feeling and desire do not match, there is action. It's like us, when we go home hungry, we finish eating food. Atma Ram Shant ho gaya. That's what we say, right? That's what we experience also, right? So desire and feeling, if they are balanced, if you lead a life of balance there, your consciousness goes up by 1 degree because that wisdom gets added to our soul, right? Now the relationship between Paramatma and Atma in these terms. Mr. Thinking and Destiny has already qualified that your Purnatma is equal to knower, thinker, doer in a balanced body. Okay. And above him is Ishwar, ultimate, not Maheshwar. Maheshwar is a component of Ishwar, right? So the ultimate has got one very good habit. His habit is he will keep on poking this desirer. He has got the desirer, that control is with him. So he will send one Vishwamitra, right? That fellow will succumb to that desire. Body has become imbalanced. That body has to come to this earth. That body needs to come to this earth for the cleaning of the body. The imbalance has to be balanced. That once imbalanced, the complete balance has to start from the element level to the complete thing. That is why we need so many levels. Getting it? Right? To maintain the balance, again, what do we require? Meditation. Right? Our consciousness increases. We do meditation. We derive that benefit. We start feeling. We start experiencing that. And we achieve a balance. Right? As and as we go more matured and matured, we are on the path. Let's go to the next picture. Now, if these are not balanced, we just saw what happens, right? Let's go to the next picture is, one second. See, the impact of those imbalances and the thoughts comes on the causal body because it generates your karma. It impacts your subtle bodies. All the other bodies are influenced by that thought. And the impact of all those variations is felt where? Where do we feel it? What is that body? Physical body. Because we have got space. Right? Yeah. So let's go down. Yeah. In terms of physical components, what do we have? The same 3 elements have become conscious body, subconscious body, unconscious body. Which is the unconscious body? Anyone can identify the unconscious body and why? I will give you one clue. Unconscious body is the materialized HABIT. What is that?
It stores some in the subconscious mind.
This physical body is the habit body. Based on its habit, it will demand something. Based on your ignorance, you will give it. Best example is smoke 100 cigarettes a day. I used to be awake for 16 hours a day. So how many cigarettes in a minute? Or how many minutes per cigarette? 9.6. Okay. Now 9.6 for lighting and all that, you anyway have to give 1 minute. Lighting and stubbing out. I mean, every 8 minutes I had a cigarette in my hand. I mean, did I give any respite to that? Actually, with that kind of a behavior, my lips were Now this is not there, that's why I can't compare. So I will compare with one of yours. Anybody's head has got, most of you have got that black color. Right? That was the color. Okay. I mean, again, this became pink now. What were the impacts of my that dirty behavior? Loaded with abuse of the body. When I say abuse of the body, I used to work for 16 hours. Right? So 2 hours sleep. Balance 2 hours, brood over what will happen tomorrow, what happened yesterday. I didn't know anything about meditation. That became diabetes. Doctors were very happy. Right? They gave me prescription after prescription. I ended up spending 8,500 rupees per month for medicines. In spite of it, the diabetes, now it got complicated. It went to insulin of 100 units a day. Then doctor said, welcome. Why? Because I can now do surgery on your body. He took away 5 toes. I don't have 5 toes today. And then he started telling me, thank you very much. I'm so happy, Chandra. Now you have given only 5 toes. Wait, like they say now in Telugu, please avoid the crocodile tears that are in future. Mundundi Musalla Pandaga. Right? So that came up. That is crocodile tears. You wait, continue this way. You can make me happier and take your crocodile tears with you. That means what is coming up is far more dangerous than what you have seen till now. He said, next, be ready, ankle. Then he said, after ankle, obviously up to the knee. When you're giving me up to the knee, why not up to the thigh? I said, you'll give me only stump? He said, no stump, only up to the hip. Remaining I will take. I started worrying, abhi kya karne ka hai? I have to come out of this. But what can I do? I can't do anything. Because I am now stressed. Pair kab jayega, pair kab jayega, pair kab jayega. That was my thought process. I invited that trouble also very soon. What they had to do was, this flat portion of the foot had completely decayed. I want to show you that. Right? You all can see a cut here. You see a cut starting here up to here, because he couldn't cut beyond. He could only come up to here. This had decayed. I was telling you, right, what happens to the quality, your question. That is what happens to the quality. No energy, why? 100 cigarettes a day, the pipeline of the blood circulation had reduced. Right? Oxygen was not traveling up to the end. I'll tell you how it again recovered also. That is the next part. So, this portion was absolutely pale yellow in color. Nothing pink means what? No blood circulation. Okay? They scrapped it off. That entire skin. See, there is a similar layer which has got the padding of the flesh. And below that, there is a closed layer. Otherwise, my ankle, up to ankle, there would be nothing. Mr. Jaipur would have come in. Right? So, when they cut this, they scrapped the whole lot. And it was a pocket. The way they create a pocket here to insert your heart, the pacemaker. Right? Like that, they had converted this to a pocket. And this pocket, my role every day for almost 85 days, 85 days, was take this sterilized gauze, the bandage cloth, take that, dip it in a dish of iodine. which you call that betadine, dip it, can't do it with the hand. So I became a doctor, at least a nurse, if not a doctor. Learned how to use the tweezers, learned how to use a knife when you're trying to insert something, right? And I had to insert that as a padding to enable the growth of the skin. Okay? So you wear that. Then I have to walk also with the same foot without putting any pressure. So how do I do that? Take this, no, I'll tell you what. No, crepe bandage. 3 full rolls of crepe bandage only in this area. Okay? Anyway, this fellow was not there, so he was not a problem. This fellow had already gone by then. Then this was the next level. When he said, I'm going to take your foot, right? That was the time I decided. Having given enough, now what do I do? So now I acquire wisdom. What is the root cause? Diabetes. Right? So do research on it, and ultimately my case study will tell you all those details, what I did and all. Wisdom I had already gathered. The problem area was the first one. Okay? Thought process is the pattern. Habits are, right? So those kind of repeated behavior, which had been transferred to the unconscious mind, not even the subconscious. Unconscious is the body. And that fellow, we are calling it habit there, right? The root cause. And then it has become unconscious body. You have to use the same HABIT only to come out of. You have to say no to the body, saying you are demanding this, I am not giving you. He will keep on demanding, even then he will frustrate you, he will do all that, right? You know that you have decided that you will not succumb to frustration. You will let frustrative thoughts become those that come when you are meditating. What do you do with them? Don't give it any energy. So that was wisdom helping me. Undertook that path, and ultimately, right, the sugar levels had come down. First statement was, I know. So,
It's okay.
anybody's phone?
But yeah, it's okay.
No, what's getting recorded will not be. Okay. Go ahead. Yeah. So, now, habits, autonomic body is something that you can trigger through meditation and breath control. It is part of your central nervous system. Now, I read so many books that from engineering, I became a medical fellow. Right? I mean, because prior to that, I used to stay away from this kind of science. A need of the hour. I couldn't do anything, so I had to understand the whole process. In that process, right, I took all these parameters and put them, and I had drawn a barrier to manifest. Again, to manifest something with all this wisdom, I had to create my own process of what is acceptable, what is not acceptable. That became my sankalpa for my manifestation. That was the meditation as a vehicle to take me loaded with this information instead of the thoughts of yesterday, and based on the negative thoughts of yesterday, my thoughts of tomorrow. Right? And these were only the input elements. The conscious mind was locked at no variation, only this. That is the power of the mind, that you can change habits. Again, you need the vehicle. The vehicle is Ana Apana Sati. Right? Let's go to the impact of this. I mean, nature taught me by practical example what I can do to spoil you or damage you, and what you can do recover. Both are taught in the natural manner. Isko off kar do. Some of the others are repetition, so let's go directly to the impact. Right? Or thoda right now. Yeah. Okay. So now every single thought that we get, the shape of the thought manifests as anger. वो outcome बोल रहा था ना in the first thought picture. That outcome, which is thoughts, emotions, behavior, outcome, can be qualified as different composition of that can be qualified as anger. Don't worry, this presentation I will share, but you will have to use any browser, no Apple phone. Mac is okay, right? But Apple phone, it may not open. The HTML, because this is HTML5, and Apple phones don't open HTML5 properly. I don't know why. I don't know. No oneness. That's the thing. Pardon? No, but no oneness. It is not. Pardon? I know, yeah. You have to go in at least. That's an opportunity. PSSM to. Steve Jobs was a follower of meditation. Yeah. Okay. Anyway, so those emotions ultimately, how they impact us. When it comes to anger, frustration, jealousy, envy, as the woodpecker, if he is taking these energies and banging the cell body, then your liver is, those emotions work on your liver, one of the core organizations. Suppose you have converted them to hate, your behavior pattern is cruel, you are becoming impatient at every stage, you are now impacting or producing a prescription for irritable bowel syndrome, because your large intestine, small intestines are impacted, your digestive system is getting damaged, and so on. But also the hate, cruelty, impatience will impact your heart. Heart is carrying oxygen along with Mr. Woodpecker. His operations is Mr. Woodpecker, right? He is going to get impacted. Suppose it is worry, anxiety, and stress. It is your pancreas, it is your digestive system, and so on. Right? Pancreas, diabetes. Right? Let's go further. You are sad. Expected. Disappointment is equal to expectation minus reality. Either छेद पड़ गया, your large intestines and your heart. That's lungs, not heart. Lungs. Lungs again is the place where your respiratory system, your exchange of the particles in terms of the patterns of your aura, all those which go out and come in, is increasing the bitterness, impacting this. Suppose it is fear. Mooladhara chakra directly impacts your kidneys, your auditory canal. Indirectly, these impact your mobility, all those elements. Right? Now, anger, frustration, we have already covered. So these organs are distributed along the chakras. So this is the direct hit. Indirect hit, there are so many that you cannot even imagine what they are. Right? So now, your only way that you can come out of all this is change your thought, increase your wisdom, apply the vehicle of meditation loaded with these understanding wisdom pointers. When you execute them over a period of time, practice, 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 you have a very strong opportunity to manage health. Okay, that brings me to the end of what I wanted to talk. Now open to questions.
I have a question.
Yes, ma'am.
I know the karma plays also vital role in our present life. So what if you have done very bad karma and you are born as a handicap, or you don't have thinking capacity, or you have evil thoughts, you do bad things. So how it goes? Because you cannot say everything is on karma. How a person can change the karma or impact?
See, there are two inputs I would like to give. First of all, that karma is created by you. You have chosen those as part of your life plan. Why? To heal, to eliminate the hurt, which means from that negative position, you have to learn how to live with it and exhaust. Okay? Which means you have to develop the necessary strength to experience the choice of that disease. There is no go. Whatever I spoke applies to your psychosomatic and the whatever you have created in this life to learn the lesson and execute your life path. So if it is that much a karma, that means 20% that I said in the beginning, you are destined. You have to learn to live with it. But 80% of them can be changed. Now, how do you get to know this? Spiritual tablets has a very good definition of a disease. If it has got, it can be karmic, or it also manifests as certain variations from the purpose of life. The first manifestation is a deviation of, now where is this purpose of life captured, or how are you executing it? It is part of the duties that you have to do. It is the part of learnings that you have to undergo. It is part of the primarily these two. The type of life, the type of relationships that you have to manage. Because in relationships, you have got two categories, bonded and non-bonded. Bonded relationship is chosen for digesting the karma. Right? You undergo, you select that, there is some karmic influence. till that lessons that it stands for is learned, you will undergo that as suffering. The moment the lessons have been learned, right, you will go with the thought that I'm getting this, I'm doing it, please forgive me. You have those in the meditation that you can offer, so that the impact of that can be reduced. Okay. Now, let's come to that, the duties, the deviations. When you are not doing your deliverable, the first appearance comes when the deviation from your purpose is to the tune of 20%. It will generally manifest as a disease on the skin. It will start as a warning. That warning could be a rash on the skin, etc. You ignore that. The deviation moves towards 40%. After the skin, which is the across the body, the next one will be your muscle, which is below the skin. Okay? They will have a problem. If it goes to 60%, in terms of whatever extent responsibilities you are missing, etc., we don't have an empirical formula for that. We don't have a mathematical formula to arrive at that. We have not yet observed how things are getting cured. It can be done, but it will take some time. We have now put the framework there in place. When that 60% is beneath the muscles is the bones. So it goes up to 80%, it is bones. Okay? That is, up to 60% is your muscle. 60 to 80% you are going to the bones. No, you're not going. Up to 60% is nervous system also is coming. Beyond the nervous system, 80 to 110, it goes up to bones. You may have fractures, etc. All those are deviations. Beyond that is straight away 180%, 140 to 180%. Those are terminal illnesses, if they are karmic. Okay. That is the spiritual side of it. There is one more branch of science which is being explored today, known as new medicine. That has got a cure that is anyway spiritual, but has been found to be working very well for situations like cancer and these complicated diseases. That one, maybe I will hold a lecture on it virtually on Zoom one of these days. I'm still researching that to understand a basic framework. But that book is huge. Every disease has got a model associated with that. That will take some time. I'm going to do a lecture on that. But currently, but even for that to work, the framework is meditation. Right? So that brings me to the end of. Ma'am, your question, do you think is answered effectively, or you still are thinking something? Or what is the confusion? Ask. If it is a one-on-one, we can do it separately.
No, separately.
Okay, right.
I have a question. My question was,
spiritual development, vital organs like heart, kidney.
Every organ, it is again the same. The variation, then we have to look at, we have to understand your lifestyle, we have to understand, we profile you on 12 different views to understand what is the root cause.
so I want to ask a question.
Every organ potentially can get affected. There what happens is we start with these. Beyond this, we go into the chakra level imbalances. Chakras are directly related to the organs, right? That is where the whole thing starts getting more and more clearer. Along with this, just like the various tools that the professional doctors use, we have 7 experiences. Your life coincidences, your dreams, they give us light to say what kind of tablets to prescribe. I'll give you an example. See, sometime in the month of August, before I left for the US, my sister was having a function at home. We spoke about duties, we spoke about bonded relationships, non-bonded relationships, etc. She came home, poor thing. She said, Bhaiya, this type of function is there and it is mandatory that you have to come. She said in those many words, it's mandatory, the brother has to be there. And I, in my usual style, no, I've already committed. There are some classes to be taken. I cannot come. Okay. She went off disappointed. She didn't say anything. My wife, she gave me whatever she has to give me for that behavior. I was still not convinced. I said, no, my commitment is to this. Next day, I had a small drink. Afternoon, I dozed off. Normally, I don't. That day, in that dream, I was driving car. I'd come to a traffic signal. I stopped. And the signal turned green. I have to move, right? I'm not able to move. My leg is not moving. This is all dream sequence. It's not coming up to the accelerator. So suddenly I find it a lot of blaring noises behind, blah, 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 that horns and all that. That attracted the cop there. The cop there comes, says, that's this. I'm doing this. It's not moving. So he picks up his camera, starts shooting. Matlab, he's going to punish me. Penalty or whatever it is. Dream broke. I was trying, what is this message? Car driving, that too in the afternoon. Normally I don't go out in the afternoon. That's my reading personal time. What is this meaning? I mean, I tried to decipher. Up to car I could understand. Car is a vehicle we use for people who are near and dear, that is family and close friends. I am able to identify something is not okay with this. When I could not figure out, I wrote the details of the mail to GK sir and said, GK sir, I'm able to go up to the car, but what is all this? Right? So I said, tell me the whole thing. So I told him whatever I told just now. I repeated the whole thing. You are failing in your duty. That was his answer. Figure out what it is, because he will not give you the full answer. You have to realize yourself. So I started looking, failing, dear. Then it struck me. This girl came inviting me for a function. She said it is mandatory that you have to attend. Though I don't believe in all those things, I have to satisfy her belief. That is my duty. Next day I went, carried my laptop, sat near the fellow who was doing the cooking there. Right? Showed my face to my sister. Niche aake baith gaya. I was doing my work. I was happy. She had, her condition was satisfied. Brother has come. Everything went off well. Nothing went wrong. But it could have had a serious repercussion. It could have manifested as a deviation in life. Right? So these kind of messages are the tools for you to look for which part, which function, and it could have impacted my organs also. We don't know which one. Right? If it is at the relationship level, something to do with the circulation, that will be the first manifestation. That would get extended. I continue that behavior. It can even terminate, become a terminal illness. So these are the warnings that we get when we try to take a spiritual approach beyond the approach of Newtonian way, saying that yeah, heart fail ho gaya to dusra laga lenge, kaam chal jayega. It may be accepted, it may be rejected also. Right? So we get that kind of insights when it comes to organs. But first is the pre-organ phase. You don't correct it, it will mature gradually. There is a process of maturation also. Any other question? Yes, sir.
So these diseases, what we talked about, because of the thoughts or the behavior or the woodpecker effect, we understood. And then there are pre-birth planning where you can bring them along with you. But there are like ascended masters who were not in this kind of thoughts. They have taught lesson to the world. And since they are in that great place, so most likely they will not bring any karma also here.
No, if it is part of your pre-birth plan in terms of the role that you are going to play, the purpose of life, it is part of the purpose of life, you are not impacted.
So my question is this. We talk about Swami Vivekananda, Ramakrishna. They terminated with the fatal disease, right? So why it was planned for them?
It is not was planned. That is how they plan to exit.
So
it's part of that plan. See, they have come with, see, what happens is, towards the end of the life is a project, mind you, right? Now, imagine what happens in real life, because the computer industry, the IT industry has a lot to roll, because the entire IT industry is modeled after the spiritual model of life. A project is issued, it is like your life plan. Extend that. When is a project terminated? What are the conditions? Production implementation. That means it is moving to support. Okay. Right? Project is not yet closed. It is moving to support, it is ongoing. Project terminated. Improper specification. Project going haywire, it is extending, right? The soul will decide to close the life. Project abortion is exit now, come back with a different product spec, right? So that is one condition. The other one is, whatever is happening, the project does not seem to be having an end in line. Close. So project completion, leave this place. You come here for a purpose, your purpose achieved, close. Right? Then these are the three basic conditions that drive the exit. Exit, what a soul does when you do the planning is, there are a number of exits that you will place, which are going to be triggered by one of these three conditions. Right? So the purpose with which they came, if you take Paramahamsa Yogananda, he came to take spirituality to the Western world. He had established it, the job is over. Right? He went away. But then, unfortunately, when we think from a materialistic perspective, we forget the spiritual side of it. Okay. Now, let's take a person who is very rich. Actually, this Thinking and Destiny gives a beautiful example in our mental destiny. Right? See, there is a family, two families, husband and wife. I mean, both the husbands are very, very good friends. How this karma works also. These two friends, they go on a hike to a nice mountainous area. It so happens that one of the friends falls into a ditch. He falls into a ditch and he dies. At the same time, the same friend who has gone to save that the other friend who is with him, he tries to save him. He is not able to save him, but he finds a huge deposit of gold. Now, how did this karma, the mental destiny, influence this person who died? Spiritually, let's first attempt. Spiritually, when he did his pre-birth plan, he chose his movie, he chose the actors. He chose one of the conditions with the acceptance of all the other members. Right? The other members of the family would have this desire to meet, saying that the child would want to lead a life without a father. Okay, condition met on both sides, right? So there is a tick for the karma to take effect. Then the husband had chosen to abandon the family midway. So his condition is met. The wife wanted to lead a married life up to a particular age and pursue something on her. Okay, her objective met. This is the spiritual explanation. Materialistically, how would we read it? इसने क्या पाप किया, ये हालत आ गया. This is how people talk, right? Right. The moral side of it, right? Now, likewise, let's look at the other character. He had done so much good that he was destined to have a windfall property, a windfall money. He got it. What will be materialistic say? उसको उतना मिला ना, आधा इसका होता है. Right? That is not how spirituality works. It is up to him. He wants to give it. He doesn't want to give it. He has got it. Now, spirituality will evaluate this fellow differently. It will say, he has been given a lot of money beyond his basic requirement. Is he doing any dharma? Is he doing any service? Then his next life can be rewarded appropriately. He is not doing any. That means he has not understood why he has been given so much money. That is the spiritual interpretation. He is very lucky. There is nothing like lucky in our spiritual era at all. Right? So, we will say it is coincidence and all that. So, the third eye master can visualize why it happened. Okay. So, karma's action is going to be on that basis. Karma wants to, what do you call this? From a spiritual evaluation, like G.K. sir used to tell us a story about Patriji, G.K. sir and a few masters on Patriji's first visit to Vizag. Okay. They are all at the railway station. The train is about to leave in 5 minutes. So how should the person behave in front of a guru? Okay. One of the Sishyas of Patriji, at that moment, an old man brings a ticket and says, where is this compartment? So this man goes out of his way, takes him and puts him in the compartment and comes back. Did he do morally right or wrong? Right. Did he do spiritually right or wrong? Wrong. When you are with a guru, are you supposed to bother about beyond your Responsibility. What is your responsibility when you are with a guru? Listen to the guru, what he is teaching. He has got only 3 minutes. He is giving you a lecture.
Oh, I did that.
See, we also didn't know. We also gave the same answer. Then he said, spiritually, you will be evaluated whether you are following the Guru Shishya Dharma. Guru Shishya, did your guru tell go and do it? Right? That means you are not trusting the relationship with the guru. That's spiritual evaluation. So, that part of the evaluation needs to be very, very clear. Spiritual and moral. There are two responsibilities. You have to walk the middle way. You can keep as much money as you need for a comfortable life. The remaining has come to you for you to do seva. You don't do that seva, this will stagnate, it will be misuse of the power, and you will be accordingly rewarded. In other words, punished. Right? So that discrimination, that level of understanding comes to us when we are walking the spiritual path. Yes, sir.
So we have a question from audience also.
Yeah.
Let's listen.
Yeah, let's listen. You repeat the question so that I don't. Sir, do we have some water here?
Yeah, we have Jubia. Please go ahead with your question.
Hello, thank you. I joined a little late. You might have covered this, but my question is on fear and depression. These are two things that one does not have control over. So how do you overcome them?
See, fear, and there are a couple of reasons. See, fear means it will manifest as a tendency which will impact your root chakra. It could be lower back pain, it could be any of these kind of effective challenges. It's an imbalance in the lower chakras. We need to, how do I put this? See, we generally, the approach we take is there is not one answer like we have in our general back pain. You take ibuprofen for some days and then it will come down. We don't have that kind of a prescription. It's a question of understanding the root cause, which takes a couple of sittings to identify the problem. How do we identify? We start understanding where are you separating yourself from your duties or your lifestyle or all these parameters which we capture over 12 different profiles. We identify the transformation that you need to do, and while you are doing those transformations, which is a combination of service and practice on the lines of wisdom, you will be able to overcome them. So my personal recommendation will be, we can send you a link where you can register and take counseling. We will be able to help you. Did you get that?
Yes, thank you. I understand. And
so we will have to see where is it that you are deviating. Generally, if I talk in, let's say if I'm giving a 200,000 feet view, typically, I will map the disease into or the difficulty that you are facing from 3 different perspectives. One I will call separation from the concept of oneness. Or the second one will be, how are you separating yourself from yourself? I will explain that. The third one is, how are you separating yourself from others? Let us say that there is an impact of a particular event in which you felt insulted. Right? Whenever you see that person, you are going to be dominated by a sort of a fear out of the insult. The insult could push you to living in guilt, living in shame, staying away from that gentleman or lady or that situation, etc., which is counterproductive to the responsibilities that you have to discharge. There starts the deviation. So we use meditation as one approach, overlaid with certain wisdom capsules. We have about 554 wisdom capsules for various kinds of diseases today. This is part of PSSM also. That wisdom is what is captured in what we call spiritual tablets. That is the second one. When it comes to yourself, how are you deviating or separating from yourself? What's your good name, please?
Zubia.
Yeah, Zubia, I would identify a person, let's say Zubia, and define what is it that keeps her happy. Because your purpose of life, along with the challenges, is how to lead a happy, balanced life, given the circumstances that you have chosen. Then identify what you have learned, what you have not learned, and learn to live in that surrender. So that is the purpose of life. That is what is supposed to define your quality of a happy life. But you are living under duress. By deviating from these defined parameters, then that itself causes a stress, which will manifest as one of the emotions that I discussed. Okay. Now, there is one element I have not shown here deliberately because that's a very, very deep subject. That is your chakras imbalance. Right? Some of these get cured at an energy level. Some of these warrant additional services to be performed to manifest a cure. So to go to that level of profiling an individual, I would recommend there is no one size fits all in spiritual approach. We also may need to go to the level of your soul plan, which we have third eye masters like G.K. Sir and a few very, very senior practitioners who can identify what correction you can do. This will meet 80% of the correction that is possible. 20% will generally remain as part of the karma that you have to digest, which means you have to endure that without suffering. Because suffering again changes the energy composition that you have to rub off, you have to let go. So there are so many combinations in the solution that you asked. So what I can do is I can ask Indu to send you the form for registering whoever is the person you are referring to, be it yours or someone. They can come for the counseling. We will do the detailed study and help them out.
Okay. Thank you so much.
Yeah, welcome. Yeah, next question. Yes, sir.
So you just spoke about dharmas, right? Moral dharmas are easy. We can figure out. What are the spiritual dharmas? How do we define so that we can have...
Dharmas itself is a combination of spirituality as well as morality. Okay. But when it comes to execution, moral dharma is your self-sustenance, nothing beyond. You are expected to provide for meeting your responsibilities. That is the moral side of life. So for this, you have gone through 10 traffic signals, right? 10 traffic signals defines the value system that you have to embark upon. And that is part of the guidance that you can take for executing your life, be it spiritual or moral. Now, you come to a situation of a clash between a moral and a spiritual scenario. Which one do you choose? Right? That is what we call a Y junction in our spiritual approach. That Y junction, you have to choose the path of spirituality because moral values are a subset of the spiritual values. Ultimately, from a soul perspective, moral values have no meaning. It is the spiritual values. However, what is moral value? Moral value is the common denominator of all the souls or a community has set for itself to lead a comfortable, acceptable level of life. That is why moral values do not find a place when you are doing spiritual evaluation. Soul evaluation is not moral. It is spiritual. That is why we say when you are exchanging energy, if you give money to a person who misuses it, that person doesn't create a karma. You create that karma because you are enabler of that scenario. That is where the 10 traffic signals give you the guidance.
Follow up to that, right?
Yeah.
In the example of the student that you gave, right? So his helping of the old man, is it a moral dharma or a spiritual dharma? And why
He participated morally, not spiritually. Spiritually, when you are with a guru, unless the guru has said go ahead, you have to wait. That is the Guru Shishya Parampara.
my question is
Because the guru is responsible for all your actions. Here you have deviated from that and you have become the action owner. In deviation from the definition of that practice. You are liable to the lawsuit. You can take that lawsuit to be the punishment the guru gives. That is the way the evaluation happens. Now, there is another thing. Every soul has got a level of consciousness, which is based on its wisdom and the progression it has. There are 35 stages a soul goes through. Okay. Now, there are classification of the soul that you call infant soul, baby soul, adult soul, old soul, and the spiritual soul. Each of them have got a gradation of 7 levels at each. This is based on the research by Dr. Michael Newton, who has studied so many souls to come out with the model. Each soul has got certain deliverables. Now, an evolved, for example, a person of 18 years, if he commits a crime, the punishment that can be meted out with him or to him is different from the same crime committed by a juvenile. Right? That kind of scenario exists even for the soul. If it is an evolved soul committing a mistake, the punishment he gets for that could be harsher than a young soul. That is why in the 3 dharmas we say, when you are donating, donate service. Don't donate money. Money is okay for a young soul. Right? If you have to do, it has to be prachara dharma. In the 3 dharmas recommended, there are those kind of gradations, and based on where we have got the true rails between which we can operate. Yeah. Any other question? Yes, ma'am.
Sir, can you speak more about curing the disease with meditation, and especially, I especially want to know your journey.
My journey, that will take another an hour and a half. If you people have time, I don't mind. Okay, briefly. Okay. After I was diagnosed, I wrote my plan saying that by this date, this is what the score had to come. That's my blood sugar level. It used to be in the range of 200, 200 plus. It was having arrived at saying that this is what I can do, right? Which was a combination of diet, because in spiritual tablets, we have a formula which says every disease, the major causes of the disease are unwanted, unnecessary, or unscientific food. Same unwanted, unnecessary, or unscientific thoughts, and unwanted, unscientific relationships. These three I identified and decided what to let go. But the problem was, how do I implement that? So I would take each of these items, draw out my plan, and keep on meditating only on that. That became I was obsessed with that. In thought, in emotion, in activity, all these I was only going by that. So my meditation, my breath was replaced with that viewpoint. 7 hours of meditation every day. How 7 hours? Get up at 3. Right? 3:30, I generally get up. So there was nothing new, no change. Meditate with that thought process, guided by Patriji's music, some other flute. I used to play this silently because, not silently, I can't play it silently anyway. So on my laptop, I can have a string of windows on YouTube open to play multiple combination music. Right? I will open one window, it is flute, but no guidance, only instrument. Guidance was only that thought. That thought was located here and my position was this. No specs. That's it. I would keep seeing that this music would ensure that I don't deviate from that target. Instead of breath, that became the parameter that got circulated through my breath and my circulation and my thought process. All that was focused only on that, till it had become a habit. That means I didn't have to think about it. Even if I sit like this, that is what is the internal process that is going on. That was the wisdom part. This way I continued till I tasted the first success. What was the first success? 250 to 180. Right?
This was just with meditation?
Yeah.
Or the combination of diet and exercise?
No, diet also I had to modify. I changed my metabolism pattern to a little bit of keto, and I changed the ground rule. I was with Buddha CEO at that time. I was not with spiritual tablets at that time. I was supporting. And one thing as service I had decided was books and explaining books is my passion. Knowing the passion, I turned it. I stopped reading all management books because by then they had no meaning. I had finished. I've read every management book that you can name. I will recite it. Even I've got a very strong way of reading. Now, those book clubs also, one way or the other, would come and stop on diabetes. Okay. Every book on diabetes was read. This model was integrated into it. And in the book club also, I was doing autobiography of a yogi. I will take a lesson, map it to diabetes. How will you do it? That means I was thinking, eating, breathing, living. They controlled the diabetes.
Till it reached to your last
cell of your no, till it not last cell. The doctor said, right? He said, stop your medicine, stop your insulin. And it went on to such an extent because I was very closely involved. Today, he is my patient for the same problem. And he is cured. he has cured himself through the same approach I took. In fact, I still remember. And then I had given a similar lecture somewhere else in Telugu. That was my first Telugu lecture. He calls me, I sent him these notes.
So you were retired when you were doing like 7 hours of...
Yeah, only after that retirement only gave me diabetes also at that level.
That's what I was thinking, like, how you were spending like that?
But how did you reach up to that 7 to 8 hour meditation?
Okay, very good. No, very good, very good. I'll give you. See, I said I started at 3 o'clock, 3:30, right, in the morning. The focus was my individual meditation on the parameters that I had taken. That would start at about 4 o'clock, go on till 6. 6 o'clock, Buddha CEO meditation starts. So join that. 2 plus 1.5 hours. 3.5 hours. Now I have to find out what was my group meditation experience versus individual experience. Look at the energy levels from the experience point of view. Now create an imaginary movie. I have got the same number of people meditating with my thought process. That's the mental image, right? I stuck to it and did another 2 hours. I completed this. My morning meditation was over. I would go down for tea. What is this tea? No milk, no sugar. Lemon tea with butter. What a combination.
Okay.
But then, if you try that, you will stop taking normal tea. This is such a tasty stuff. I'm in India, so I took the salted Amul butter, right? 20 grams. Why that? I don't know if any of you have tried this. It keeps your hunger under control. Okay, that was my breakfast. Then first 1 week was liquid diet. What is liquid diet? You take all the vegetables that are permitted, not the ones that can promote fat, right? All the vegetables, put it into a cooker, pour 1 liter of oil, let the, 1 liter of, sorry. Yeah, 1 liter of water. Don't add salt or anything. Right? 10 whistles using the cooker, the rice cooker. Right? Then you filter that. Throw all the vegetables. Fortunately, I didn't have to throw because I had 2 Labradors at home. Right? That went to their food. The water went into me. Okay. Again, lemon with butter. That was my diet. How many times? No matter. If you are hungry, drink that. Right? So that changed the metabolic structure of what the pancreas was being subjected to. It completely changed. And then I found that the insulin resistance, which is far more dangerous than the medicines that we take, that had come down. The only benefit was the doctor, right? He was involved in all this process right through. we would check up the sugar levels and I would write down. I didn't believe in these outside fellows. So I took the same device, and at home, every 3 hours, I will write down the reading. I don't know how much blood would have gone, but it was substantial. It was 6 months, right? And this practice, after 2 weeks of this liquid diet, there were probably that fellow had nothing left to work on. So he gave in. The doctor advised, stop your medicine and all that.
In 2 weeks.
Did I say 2 weeks?
Yeah,
3
you
weeks.
said 2 weeks.
Yeah, 2 weeks. Yeah, 2 weeks. Yes. It came down. He said, you can first reduce. First, he removed the insulin completely. Then he said, tablets stop. So by now, 8 weeks is over. 3 weeks, he gave one area, the balance time. He said, you reduce the remaining. No medicine. So I could change the diet. So I had cottage cheese along with green vegetables. 2 times a day. 50 grams of cottage cheese in the morning, 50 grams of cottage cheese in the evening. No limit to the green vegetables. Right? Along with it, as a supplement to rice,
It was raw vegetable or it is
cooked. Right? So, as a replacement to rice, it was cabbage as a vegetable. Cabbage. Right? Cabbage grated, because when you grate it tiny, it looks like rice. Right? That became the other parameter. I mean, the body, the eyes know, the brain knows. What does the poor body know? He just knows one experience, which is I am full, I am empty. Or I am half full, half empty. Right? So this kind of combination over 6 months brought it under total. Then I have been depriving the body of so many things, right? I went out, had about some 6 helpings of ice cream and all that. Next day, sugar. So, but then I was courageous now. I know what to do. Right? Since then, things have been good. In this, in between, whenever I get tempted, I take tablets. Because temptation, I'm still not fully controlled. I'm still not yet there. I'm getting there. No, it's gradual. That is why it is a stage manner. It's a 6 months plan. You keep changing the component, reducing till it has come under control. But the first success is very, very critical. The moment you have tasted, that is what you will start pushing. That becomes your reference point has completely shifted. Right? Earlier, I used to see after tablets also, I have not seen 180. It used to be 220, 240. This is what, not fasting. This is feasting. But after lunch. Right?
So what was the thought? What was
the thought was only one thing. No more giving doctor any opportunity to cut any more portion. That was the only, because if I have a materialistic goal, it will not work. Right? I had to link it to an experience. What was that experience? You have given enough, no more. That was the emotion with which I was fighting the war.
And you were meditating on that emotion.
Yeah. This was in 2009. No, this was in 2011. By then, doctor had taken whatever he wanted. Right. And the last bit was this filing. This poor fellow looked like, you know what? There's only a bone structure, nothing below. And doctor says, how will this heal? And I was saying, no, it will heal. I mean, today I'm able to laugh at it, but it was really, no, not challenging, scary. Because every time my wife will look at it, I think they will have to remove it. Immediately, all my strength. Right? The doctor will keep telling me, no, you're doing good. No, my wife feels, no, don't worry. You're doing good. Believe me. Hey, he was actually giving me a boost. So after some time, I had decided I'm not going to interact with anyone. Whenever I interact with them, I will have a thick layer of the scrap bandage. Maybe if need be, more than one layer of socks, so that they say, this looks good. Right? I mean, I didn't want them to say the negative. No, these are all the external influences. They are under our control. But the only thing is, if you let their statement come and settle inside you, right, the internal mechanism stops to work. It was tough, but fantastic learning out of it. Yeah.
My next question is like, while so many masters like you are, able to change life completely, having incredible breakthroughs. On the other hand, people like us who are probably 1 year, 2 years, cannot change even a single habit.
What is Patriji's answer to it? It's there in your question. What was the last word? Huh? Change what? HABIT. Right?
So my question is very childish. What does a successful meditation look like? Or
where success, the parameter, do you cook?
Yes.
What is a successful dish?
Tasting good.
Right? How do you give it the taste?
By mixing ingredients.
But how do you know the quantities to be mixed? You read any book?
No, it.
You got the answer. It's exactly that. Your desire to make a good dish is the motivator, right? Your caution of how you add the ingredients into it, particularly when it comes to salt or chilies. Okay, if you increase the chilies, you know how to rectify it. A little bit of maybe lemon and some salt, right? You want to increase the taste, you may even add a spoon of sugar. You may do any of those, but the desire, the intent with which you work is the one that maintains the thought under control.
And also experience will make you perfect.
No, that is why I spelled the word habit. And you will keep on practicing till you have mastered that. This was a lesson from Joe Dispenza's You Are the Placebo, the introduction and the prologue, wherein he gives the complete pathway of what he did to rebuild his backbone. I mean, from powder he created his backbone. If you read that, the motivation and the information that you get, or I will call it the data that you get, not information. Because when you define your strategy, then it is information. Otherwise, it is data. He said, if you are doing something and you deviate from that process, start from the beginning. Even the doctors who wanted to perform a surgery on him could not tell him that he would be back on his legs in 9 weeks. He did that. He was back on his work desk in 13 weeks. 6 vertebrae were rebuilt. So here comes where there is a will, there is a way. Sir, I didn't mean you. Huh? That process answer. Yeah. So it is all in that. Yes, sir, you were asking?
Yeah, I have one question. How will the gratitude impact on your thoughts and your human life or health life?
Sir, gratitude is an integral part of the whole process, as well as acceptance. Gratitude was what I gave to every component of wisdom. And the authors like Joe Dispenza, because I was I read books. The rate at which I read, very few people will be able to touch. I complete a book in 3 days, even today. I have to. Then I spend an additional 1 month on creating notes. What you are seeing here is a combination of 9 books. It is no power of subconscious and all. I studied in my school days, so that has become part of the life. Let me finish. Yeah. Yeah.
That impact, how gratitude impact.
See, gratitude was
like I'm saying, I'm very happy, energetic.
Right.
Every day morning I practice.
Okay. Pardon?
I'm healthy. I'm very active. I'm very energetic.
I'm going to say thanks to every component that is given me there. Right? Like what is it? See, first of all, the wisdom element. Okay? The people who are involved in making this. So I would start my gratitude with my parents. Okay? Followed by my guru. Why? Guru comes next to the parents. The Adi Guru is your mother. If you cannot bring in that sentiment, you're a waste. Right? The direction from the sentiment of father. Mind you, I have been brought up in the hostel. So this gains lot of importance. I have lived all my life in the hostel, starting with class 1. Yeah, the reason was different. I mean, my mischief was so bad that no one could control. That was the only place. Right? Though parents were in the same place, I was in the hostel. So you start with that. The environment which has given me the trust. So the community, the entire ecosystem would be part of expression of gratitude. And it was not in words. It was in silent, experiencing their presence, giving me that strength. That was the school of thought coming to this. Then every bit of technology was part of this one. But for you, I couldn't have maintained this. Right? So all the entire ecosystem has to be part of the gratitude, and we have to mean what our thought is in energy terms. I mean, it's a kind of an emotional involvement when you express gratitude. It is not, let's say, gratitude for the technology, for the people involved, for the system, Mother Earth, and those are all words. You don't have to say that. If you feel it, there is at least one tear every time you express gratitude. It's the feeling that is important. It's not the words. I keep hearing so many people when they start, relax your legs. How do you relax your legs? Why can't you replace it with create a tense of all the muscles in that area and release? That is the difference I mean. Right? You try, what do you do when you get up? Do you stretch your body? Every time we get up from nice sleep, do we stretch our body first thing? What are we doing? Have we realized? You are tensioning all the muscles in that area and releasing them. That's when you feel the relaxation. That is relaxation. Right? That experience when it comes to gratitude also. And when you express gratitude, it does wonders but it will also give you at least one tear every time you express. Yes, ma'am.
Can we do 10 minutes meditation and we'll have to wind up because a lot of people have to go far.
Okay, done?
We'll do 10 minutes meditation and while we are eating food and all, they can ask questions again.
Okay. Okay. I mean, what is the time?
7.
What time did we start?
4 o'clock.
It's about 3.
We spent so much time.
Yes.
So you talk very well. Speak very well. Speak very well.
We started.
Play some music, sir. Sir, you can guide us.
No, I'm not guiding. Guiding, I leave it to the experts.
Sir, please, sir, don't have to guide, just.
No. Okay, I would prefer one of the seniors here do it.
Harika, come on. Sanjay, go ahead.
Chandra sir is here.
No, guidance, I'm not good.
Except like,
10 minutes.
I had a question here.
Can you announce?
I like this meditation. I do various, but whenever I am in meditation and somebody start talking, guiding, I get so much disturbed. I just move out of the meditation. I don't know why. Every time it happens.
That means you are not meditating.
I like just with music.
No. See, whichever it is, you are thinking that somebody is talking. That means you are not meditating.
No, but sometimes only few I have seen, they are very good guided meditators. Like only few I enjoy when they are guiding. But certain people I don't like it. It irritates me.
I mean,
it's not that always, but certain have I don't know.
Identify what that is and try to accept it. No, that's what I'm saying. Identify. If I were you, I would identify what is it that is disturbing me, and I would say I'm letting that go. I'm trying to enjoy this. Because I've already identified that that's a challenge for me, right?
Okay.
You shouldn't be under the control of the challenge. The challenge should be under your control. That's my suggestion. That's my advice. Well, that will help you get where you are. I think we can stop the recording. Meditation ki kya zarurat hai?
Yeah, live we can stop. You can stop live. You can keep the Zoom on.
You want to announce?
stop recording.
And they can join the
Custom live streaming service. Click on the custom live streaming service.
Go to the top and stop.